Well, well, well. What do we have here? Oh, the Department of Homeland Security. Because Joseph Kirk was so smart and intelligent, genius. They took him to Southern Pines and gave him a bunch of drugs and put him through a bunch of torture. A bunch of torture. So, Gina Pine, that was working with James Kirk with this prism thing to see both sides of the can of the Coca-Cola machine, figure out which ones were bad, was supposed to wake Mr. Kirk up. Southern Pines, Gina Pine. So, you can only imagine what the dismay of other people were when they found out what Gina Pine was doing, because Mr. Kirk was an informant, and Gina Pine was supposed to wake that informant up. But instead of waking that informant up, she took him down to Circles of Care, got him on drugs and stuff, decided she was going to use him for a sex toy. Imagine that. So you can only imagine why Mr. James Kirk gave him a watch, because he was the watch to report the dogs, with a compass on the wristband. Follow your compass. The compass was the Kirk family raised their kids properly to have respect and not to act like animals. What is an animal? Well, an animal is when Mr. Kirk is in Southern Pines being tortured and all kinds of stuff. When he comes down south to meet Gina Pine and was gonna date her daughter. Well, her daughter has an aneurysm and dies mysteriously. And Gina Pine takes Mr. Kirk to Circles of Care to have him put on drugs.
In a quarter mile, keep right to stay on I-395 South.
So she could use him like a little sex toy. So she could peddle some more bullshit to cover up the bad thing that she did.
Keep right to stay on I-395 South.
Gina Pine worked with James Kirk.
Continue on I-395 South for 8 miles.
Plans at a factory. And the factory was a robotics factory, and the robotics was not sex toy robotics. The robotics was to wake that little robot up. Somebody cooked up there close to Atlanta, the Williford family. But instead, she thought she'd just join the fun. Well, I guess sicko shit is not fun in everybody else's book.